Hey friend, before we dive into today's episode, I want to personally invite you to the virtual launch party for my debut novel, Finding Forevermore. It's going to be an unforgettable night filled with cozy fall vibes, behind-the-scene chats about the story, trivia games, and tons of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win amazing prizes, including bookish bundles and lots of giveaways throughout the event. It's November 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube Live, so save the date. It's completely free to attend, and I'd love for you to be part of the celebration. Just head to kellyjoewilson.com/party and tap the bell to get notified when we go live. That's kellyjoewilson.com/party. I can't wait to see you there. Now, on to the episode. Welcome to the Christian Romance Podcast, where we go behind the books with inspiring Christian romance authors, exploring faith, love, and the journey that brings the story to life. I'm your host, Kelly Jo Wilson, and today I have something a little different for you. I recently had the joy of being interviewed by the wonderful Tricia Goyer on her show, the Avid Readers of Christian Fiction podcast. We talked all about my upcoming release, Finding Forevermore, and had such a fun, faith-filled conversation. If you're not already familiar with Tricia's show or her amazing Facebook group for Christian fiction readers, you're going to love it. Tricia has such a heart for stories that inspire and encourage, and it was such a treat to be her guest. So today, I'm sharing that conversation right here for you to enjoy. Be sure to listen all the way to the end to hear how to enter the book giveaway. Now, here's my conversation with Tricia.
Welcome to the Avid Readers of Christian Fiction podcast, where the pages of faith and storytelling meet. Hosted by me, Tricia Goyer. If you're one of the over 28,000 avid readers who are part of our online Facebook group, welcome. If you're not, come and join us, and you are welcome too. If you cherish Christian fiction, this is your haven. Together we'll embark on a journey through the rich landscapes of Christian literature, engaging in heart-filled conversations with the authors who pen our favorite stories. From uncovering new titles that promise to captivate your heart and mind, to sharing the reads that have touched our souls, this podcast is a celebration of the stories that inspire faith, hope, and love. Whether you're looking for your next book to curl up with or seeking to deepen your understanding of faith through fiction, you've found the right place. Let's turn the page on this adventure together, exploring the depth and breadth of Christian fiction, one book at a time. Welcome and happy reading. Well, hello, avid readers. I am so excited because I have a new friend, and I'm very excited about her book. I've started reading it. I am loving it. But first, I would like her to introduce herself. So we have Kelly Jo Wilson. So welcome, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much, Tricia. Yes, I am so excited to be here today and be chatting with you. So, a little bit about me. I have a podcast, the Christian Romance Podcast. So I host this podcast. It's just wonderful. We talk about Christian romance books, fiction books, and it is just absolutely wonderful to chat with authors similar to how you do on here. And also, but I started writing when I was very young. I started when I was like making books and, stapling them together and like doing the whole thing. I was very like justice oriented when I was young and all about like saving the animals and writing, like just getting my voice out there. Okay. And, God love my first grade teacher. She actually let me read my stories to the first grade class. So
I love it.
Yes. I will never forget her. She like totally just, fanned my flame for writing. And then I just always loved story, like from then on, stories in books. I was like a very avid reader, and I liked a lot of the like silly books, like Ramona books. I read a lot of those whenever I was younger. and also like your Berenstain Bears, like those kind of things. And then even stories like, in movies, just all of that. I just love the story just element, period. And I kind of got away from it like as I got older. I'm sure, as most of us do, like young adult and teenager, got a little bit away from it. And God just pulled me right back into it. I became a nurse, so I am also a nurse. But now I do some medical writing. That's kind of my day job, and help with like health literacy writing. But yeah, when I was a nurse, like working in the hospital, I just, he just kind of pulled me aside and was like, you got to start writing again. So, if I'm not
Mm.
obedient, he will certainly keep pressing on me, right? I'm sure that we all have some kind of element of that in our life. So I just started writing. I actually started writing nonfiction books more to encourage women who are dealing with various traumas and brokenness. And just being a nurse, there are so many
Yeah.
stories, just people. I've seen so many people at the worst moments of their lives, and also, held people's hands when they've died, and some people, without a lot of family. And I just felt so grateful to be able to be there for them. But these stories of also hope too, a lot of healings that you would never believe would ever happen. So just kind of taking all of that and writing it into stories to encourage people and encourage women who have dealt with brokenness. And fast forward, so right whenever I was about to get through the publishing process of a nonfiction book, God was like, no, I want you to write fiction stories to broken women, like about brokenness. So
Mm.
similar audience, but no, I want you to write stories. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like years later. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So, I mean, if he isn't blessing the path, I can't walk it, right? It's just not the
Right.
right path. So that's kind of what led us to today, talking about this, my debut novel, Finding Forevermore.
Yeah. So Finding Forevermore, we have Raven and then we have Cole Walker. They're both broken in unique ways. And then she has the story that she's going to be uncovering. And right away, you could tell that they're hurting. They're interesting. Raven just like doesn't want to put on any like she's like, I want to wear my comfy sweatshirt and just be who I am. But as soon as he shows up, all of a sudden you see this different personality. Kind of like you tell they're drawn together, but then you don't know what the backstory is. So then I want to keep reading and find out what's going on. Then she's searching for somebody. So give us like the first of all the elevator pitch about the story. Then I want to dig in kind of like how this became your debut novel and get more into that story too.
Sure, sure. So the elevator pitch is so this book, Finding Forevermore, is about how faith can lead you to places, to your version of forever, right?
Mm,
But it doesn't always look at how you first plan. It's very, like you said, the characters are very broken. They have their own little issues that they're dealing with. And also it kind of takes you through to the unexpectedness of people who choose to stay in your life, and how they can impact you, and how sometimes we don't always see that, right? Sometimes things happen, things are dark, things are difficult, and we don't always kind of appreciate what is right in front of us. So yeah, that is kind of how their story starts. I didn't want to give too many spoilers, but
I
yes,
know. It's yeah.
you hit the nail on the head that so it is definitely a friends to more, like a friends to lovers story. So they've grown up with one another. They know each other for years and years. They've been friends. And then he goes to the army after high school, and they were still close. But then something happened that they kind of haven't talked for a short while, and they haven't seen each other. And then he had gone through a difficult mission, and the story starts where it's like after that
Yeah.
mission, and kind of like in that moment where they haven't talked in a while, and then they see each other again.
Yes, and there's sparks, and with both of them, and I love that you were in both points of view, so you get to see like, oh, what he's thinking about her and what she's thinking about him. And you could tell like, okay, this is definitely going to be a romance, and obviously from the cover, which is just so beautiful, you can see that this is going to be a sparky type of romancy book, and right away you could feel it in the characters, but also she has this search for a family member. And I think the back cover copy says something about this. So it's like, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but tell us a little bit more about that aspect of the story.
So yes, you are absolutely right. The back cover copy, it is no secret that Raven, after the death, so she starts out the story, she's grieving her grandmother who passed, and her grandmother kind of stepped in and took care of her since she was younger, since she was a teenager. And she is grieving that. Then since then, she actually gets a letter from her grandmother explaining that something that her father what happened with her father wasn't what she initially thought happened. And her father hadn't been in her life. So after this letter and after a couple little things that you have to read to find out, because it's so fun, and I wouldn't do it justice. It's much better to read. After a few things, she thinks that her father is this very reclusive author. So she's like gathering clues and kind of putting the pieces together, and she decides to go looking for him. And Cole, wanting her to not have to be alone and wanting to help, feeling kind of a sense of duty that he just has ingrained in him, he goes along for the ride. So and there's so much fun to be had, and there's lots of banter because they are friends too. So there's like a lot of the fun banter, which I always love in stories.
And he stole her cookie in 4th grade.
He stole her cookie.
That kind
she
of
doesn't
stuff
let him live it down.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff because it's so real. Like they seem like real people, like you're eavesdropping on real people. I mean, just like like you said, their banter, their interactions with each other, like her eating the ribs. I mean, it's just like they're real people. They're not, I don't know. It's just like super fun to hang out with them. So I'm just started in the book. I'm really enjoying it, but I love that. And so I didn't know my biological dad growing up. I didn't meet him till I was 28. And then I found out I had 4 sisters, and then later we found a brother. So that whole thing of it is like, oh, this is so relatable. And then my grandma just passed away July 31st, who I was super close to. So I'm like, this book is just connecting on all the levels for me.
Getting you in all the feels. Oh, I'm so sorry, Tricia. I'm so sorry about your gram. Especially, it's just so hard, especially when you're so close. And even just knowing, like you said about your dad, like that identity that you think you have, and then these surprises. I mean, that's a big thing, especially like even as an adult, it's hard to narrow down. And you actually are at 28 is around Raven's age. She's 20.
There we go.
This book is meant for you.
I know. Thank you for writing this book for me. I needed this time in my life. No. Although I have the man in my dreams. I already have him. So I can enjoy these romance novels, but I already have my guy. Okay. So I would love to hear, because you talked about you're a nurse, and then you're on the nonfiction path. So tell me about this journey to writing fiction, because it's not an easy journey, and getting fiction published is, I think, harder than nonfiction. So yeah, I want to hear about the journey and how you ended up here.
Well, yes. Well, oh my gosh. I love how you just said that. And I love that you're so interested. But yes, the journey, it isn't easy. It really isn't. You have to put yourself in, you surround yourself with people whenever you want to do anything, whatever that thing is, right? So I wanted to try to surround myself with people doing the thing that God is calling me to do, because if not, I have no idea what I'm doing. So got into a writer's group, started listening to podcasts, started listening to like Christian publishing show, novel marketing, got in with Thomas Umstead Jr. He's like a huge influence because he's a
friend of mine. I've known him literally like 20 years. Oh, no, maybe not 20. Yeah, probably 20 years. A long time. He was like a teenager when I met him. Yeah. Great. He's great.
Yes, I think doing websites, I think.
Yeah,
right?
He was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
doing author websites. Yes, he has been such an influential person because of all these resources that he has for authors. He's just so
Mhm.
helpful. And then he started actually doing a mastermind group for his through Author Media. So I got into mastermind group, met some people, and then now just have all these amazing people around me that are trying to do the same thing, which is just wonderful. So that was really helpful along the journey, I will say. So the nonfiction path was mainly about, I actually started writing a book. It was going to be called Live Your Purpose. And it was about expanding and just recognizing your spiritual gifts
Mhm.
and like living them out and showing different examples and having a little bit of story in there. Like for each gift, I had a different woman who was pretty well known, like Maya Angelou and women like that, that would have, you know, how they live out their gifts. And yeah, just it was, I think it was really meant to be very cathartic and help
Mhm.
me to get into the process. Because as you know, anybody can put words to a page, but to have it be something that can really bless someone else through like an actual like structure and story and really have something that can kind of touch their heart. It's yeah, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I got into education and doing taking courses, surrounding with people and writers groups and such who have been so unbelievable. I mean, it's just wonderful blessings. And yeah, just it's the journey itself. So for whenever God was like, no, like it's okay to be a nurse, he blessed that journey too. Cause let me tell
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
nursing school is pretty hard. But from that time until now, that was about 2019 when it was pretty like pressing on my heart. So now to today, but yeah, I wrote a couple of nonfiction books, more like, you know, sharing with people. And then I started building an email list, I started just listening to the women that were responding to,
Mhm.
you know, encouragement blog posts or what they liked about stories and things like that. And just try to take their feedback or take from them, you know, what they're going through and put it kind of together into a story that they would feel like seen, you know, like you said
Mhm.
about, I feel like we all really struggle with grief at some point. We struggle with feeling abandoned and rejected. My struggle personally was not feeling good enough to even
Mhm.
know Jesus. I was completely unworthy. I mean, I still am, but it's different. It's more of a focus on
Yeah.
him being worthy versus what I've done. But I was so stuck in that place that it was hard for me. I didn't even want to pray. I didn't want to read the Bible. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not even worthy to look at this. I can't read his words, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, he took me through that journey for other women that were struggling with very similar things. So that's what, you know, and in this story, I just love stories. I love the
Yes.
parables that Jesus teaches. I feel like they're so relatable. They're so just timeless, and he knows, and they're, you can remember them, you know, a lot. I mean, that's what we
Mhm.
talk about that a lot on my podcast, how like using stories, someone may recall a story much better than like a teaching or a
3 facts
course.
about this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I just feel like that, you know, that's kind of how it came full circle. I wrote a couple books, a couple other books. So this isn't the very first book
That's
that
what
I've
I was gonna
written.
ask. I'm like,
Yeah.
did you just sit down and like, okay, this is gonna be it, and this is the book that just poured out of you? Because I think all of us, when we start writing fiction, we have a couple of practice books that really never go anywhere, but you're learning the skills, you're learning character and dialogue and theme and all these things. And then finally, after those practice, and you're like, okay, now I kind of know what I'm doing. And then you launch into what can be your first book.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. So my very first fiction story was a short story, and then I expanded it into a Christmas novella, and
Okay.
it's like woman's fiction, but I did have editors. Thank God for editors.
Yes.
Same with this book, same with Finding Forevermore. I had multiple editors that were just wonderful, working with the whole thing. You know, this doesn't work, this works, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
but yeah, so the very first fiction was just mainly short stories. And then the one short story I adapted into, and that was a reader magnet for a long time. That was a free story that I would give away to people that wanted to be on the email list. And it was a cute story. It was about a woman who was also struggling with the death of her husband and trying to give her kids a good Christmas a couple years later. And people really connected with that. I had a reader reach out to me and say, the reader went through the very same thing. And she said,
wow.
This is exactly what I felt. And that to me is like, just the absolute most wonderful thing ever, is to get it right whenever, and to touch someone's heart who's really walked that path, because I fortunately have not. I love my husband. I hope he's around forever and ever. But yeah, that was meant a lot to me. So that feedback was really good. So that just kind of led into, okay, well, I'm going to write a fiction story now. And that's what we're going to do.
That's so good. Okay. So I know when you sit down, I mean, you probably had like an idea of what was going to happen with Raven and with Cole. Was there anything that when you were writing, they did something? And it's so funny that people who aren't writers, like, what do you mean they did something you weren't expecting or went a different way? Because I don't know. I mean, when they're in our mind, and I really believe that inspiration is the breath of God, and we're just to get the ball rolling. And then sometimes it leads different paths. And I always feel at the end of a book, that was for me. Like that was definitely for me. So first, I guess it's a 2-part question. First, was there something that surprised you? And second, what came out of it for you in the process of writing this novel?
Well, I will tell you, there was definitely lots of surprises. Initially, my very first sit down to start plotting. So I'm definitely a plotter, at least for the big elements, but I totally see it still happens that the characters run away with it, right? They start to go their own way. And once you have their voice in your head and what they're doing, you just follow them. So very much for the process for me is like seeing a movie, and I'm on the outside and I'm just, writing down what I'm seeing, and they're doing their thing. So yes, I totally
they're doing
get
their thing.
what you're saying. Yes, they're doing their thing. But what this book started as, which is so weird to think of now, is I got inspiration to write about a woman who felt completely, utterly rejected. And so much so that she had a plan to take her own life. And she was going to have a certain date set, and she was going to go on this trip and meet the hero along the way of the trip, and then eventually not take her own life. And there were a couple of things. She was actually going to go to do that on a bridge. And then, so I was going to call it The Bridge. So it was very deep, very dark, very hard. And then as I'm like plotting it, I'm like, but wait, it doesn't make, there was so many things that just didn't work, like she's not ready for a romance. She needs real intervention here, right? Like that character. Okay. Because it sounds like a good idea at first, but then when I'm like walking out the beats, like there's no lightheartedness along that way. You know what I mean? Like it's too dark. So as I just kind of kept going, it was like it took a completely new shape, and I had no title for a very long time. And my husband is like the best brainstorm partner ever. So we were brainstorming, and I said, she's looking for something. She wants to find this thing, right? She wants to find like her place, her identity. She wants to find out really who she is by knowing the truth about her past. And my husband said, what about like forever? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So we were like kind of playing on that. And then he said forevermore. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then at church that Sunday, the pastor said a verse from Revelation that said forevermore. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know that was a word.
I didn't even know. Meanwhile, now I see all these verses in the Bible. It's so throughout in the Bible so much. And I just felt like God was pressing on it so much that he was like, yes, this is the title. This is it. So going from that, it was like, and I wanted to add in a little like fun elements too, like with the friends to lovers, and then also a little bit of darkness. So it was kind of a play on Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Her name is Raven. The author's name that she thinks is her father is J.C. Nevermore. It's like very fun. There's little Easter eggs in there too.
Yeah.
If you know a little bit about Edgar Allan Poe and his kind of backstory too. But yeah, so I just tried to keep it a little bit more lighthearted than the original idea. But
Yeah.
but it was God, really. Honestly, Tricia, it was so much him. Like, and for me personally, it was learning to trust him. My like key life verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, where it's just trust in the Lord. But it was really walking that path to trusting him in every single step, because it's a journey for sure. It's very much trusting each little divot that he wants to have play out.
Yeah, I love that. I believe like God, when we get started, like God sees the finished book on the shelf. And he knows, like you said, that reader for your other story too, that like, this is exactly what I needed. This is what I lived out. So I love that this book is launching. There's going to be these readers that we'll never meet until eternity, but he put it on your heart to get it out there because you have the gifts and talents and backgrounds and everything that you needed to be able to put that in print. But now there's going to be other people, and readers bring their own part of the story to it, their own hurts, their own stuff. And I love that God involves us in the process. And then the confirmation, like the Forevermore and all these things, it's just like such an amazing process to be in this with God. And I love that he does that. So now that, you have it in your hands and you're holding it and it's getting out there, like, what was that? This is your first novel. What was that feeling to hold it, to see it, and to know that, oh my goodness, all over people are going to be getting this book, reading this book?
Oh my gosh, it was so amazing. So amazing. As you, I'm sure, have felt too, in the past. Like, it's just so crazy to see him do such a work, because it's totally him. It was me just hanging on. Like,
Yes.
I just picture like, the car is going and it's like, keep your hands and feet inside the car because he's going to take it somewhere. And it's just
I bad news though. It doesn't end with just your first book. Every book is like, oh my gosh, here we go again. What's happening? Why am I doing this? Why am I always under deadline? Like, yeah. So,
I can imagine. Yes, for sure. For sure. Even starting to write the next story, I'm like, it's like a totally new slate, but it's all the same. It's like you're a new writer. Yeah, it's like brand new. But yeah, it was amazing, I will tell you. And there was definitely some moments. My husband is such a gem. He is the best like brainstorm partner, supporter in every way. He's like taking video. So I actually ran a Kickstarter for the book earlier this year. So in January. And when we got the book shipped in from the Kickstarter, it was like so exciting. He's taking a video, like, I'm pulling them out of the box and he's just like, oh my gosh. And it was like just as impactful for him, I feel like, because he's had to hear me talk about these characters for like 2 years, and it was so fun. But I will tell you that I love audiobooks. I tend to listen to a lot of audiobooks and ebooks too. I like every format of book, but that audiobooks I feel like I can do when I'm driving and doing other things too. So to hear my audiobook narrator, like speaking the story, I just started crying. It was just so amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this story is like taking life. It's just out there. So yeah, it's very, very exciting. I feel extremely humbled and so grateful for this time. It's so exciting.
And I do love listening to the audiobooks. And I remember, just my last romance that came out, Trust the Stars, I started listening just because I wanted to hear the voices. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. I listened to the whole it's my book. I like listened to the whole thing. I'm like, this is so good. I'm telling my husband, he's like, you wrote it. I'm like, I know, but I just love this story. But it's just so fun. It's like, it is to hear someone else. And sometimes even the wording, I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote that, but just it being spoken, it just comes like it just touches your heart. I just love it. And to know that again, other people are out there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Kickstarter because I just love, I mean, publishing, I will say years ago, like if you wanted to self-publish, if you didn't want to go with a traditional publisher, you had to like get $20,000 down, get all these copies, put them in your garage. Like it was just not easy to do. And then trying to get it out there. And I love now that, you know, we write stories, but that we have this audience and this community that comes alongside us, that believes in the story, that believes in us, that becomes part of the process. But it's also working on all the elements. Like it's like giving yourself tons of jobs beyond just the writing of the book. But I also say that like there's so much possibility now, and there's people, because you know traditional publishers can only publish so many books a year. It's just that's how the facts are, and they have their favorite authors that they do. And so I'll tell people all the time at conferences, like, do a Kickstarter, do whatever you can. If you have a community there that's going to support you, get your words out there, because if God's given you a story, he's given you a message. There's so many opportunities now. So I love that you did that. And I love that, you know, obviously your community came around you. So talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. I think that nowadays there are so many different options that people can have. The Kickstarter was super fun because it does give the people, like you said, like your super fans, a chance to connect with you. I really love to serve them in whatever way that I can. So it also gives that direct contact. That's the best part, I would say, about Kickstarter, is you are directly in contact with your readers. And that doesn't always happen if people are just going on Amazon and buying a copy and then reading it and then going about their day and buying another copy of something else. So that like personal connection is one of the greatest advantages of doing it that way, because then, but also too, because Kickstarter has reward levels, it's a crowdfunding, but it's a little different. It's not like a GoFundMe. It's more like you can give certain reward levels of the book for different people. So it's anyone who chooses to back actually gets a reward for it, actually gets something in return. Kickstarter is more for the backers than it is even for the creator, because the backers get, you know, all these cool things. So I had a few levels. I had a level like a signed and numbered hardcover edition, special edition, that's only the Kickstarter edition or only came through the Kickstarter. Also like paperback, hardcover, you know, you can get the ebooks, but then I also was able to give away, I wrote another novella that goes along in this story world, which is it's very fun. It's very, very fun. It's actually in the back of the story itself. So you can go on there, and it's called Love and Pages. It's about Nina, who is the bookshop owner, and it's set in the 90s. And let me just tell you, I went back into the 90s, which I grew up in the 90s. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like listening to like these songs and kind of getting into that vibe again, which is a total vibe. But yeah, so I was able to give those copies away, and it was just really fun. And once, you know, people are just gathering around, they're very excited about it. You set a certain funding goal. And then if you go over that goal, you can do something called stretch goals, which is where you give even extra goodies to people, like short stories or like a map. We went over the goal, and I was able to do a map of their road trip, of Raven and Cole's road trip. So it's just, yeah, it's really, really fun. And then once you fulfill the Kickstarter, it's just, everybody's so excited to get the books. They're like reaching out about the books, you know, they have all these little goodies with them. You know, I was able to wrap them up in this like pretty like paper, you know, it was just such a fun experience, to just have that direct connection, you know, with the readers.
Yeah. And it just builds that. I mean, they're probably like super excited about the next book and asking you about the next book. And you're like, okay, people, I'm just launching this one. Like, give me some space.
I know it is like that, but I love it. But it was funny. I know my one friend read it in 2 days, and she was like, okay, so any insight on this character? And I'm like, you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very funny to see people getting excited for these characters that you've like been living with in your head for so long. I'm sure that you can feel the same way too.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you like my imaginary friends. Like we all
Yeah.
know my imaginary friends now. This is awesome. Oh, I love it. Okay.
Exactly.
So are you working on the next book now? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes. I'm working on the next book. So there is a character. So Raven's friend in this book, in Finding Forevermore, is Zoe. And the next book is going to be
Yes.
her story.
Okay, I was wondering if Zoe was going to have a story.
Yes. Yes. I had a lot of, and that really is directly because of my wonderful beta readers and people on my street team who are just absolutely amazing people. Feedback from them. They really like Zoe. They thought she was funny and feisty and really want to know her story, what makes her tick, which is a little funny because Zoe, it's a little different because, you know, each character thus far anyway, well, Raven and Cole have this like kind of brokenness about them. And Zoe has like a good foundation. She comes from a good, you know, kind of her parents have a strong faith background. So it's going to be a little unique to see how like what her broken elements look like and how she recognizes them. So yeah. And how she meets her hero.
I know. It's always funny because like sometimes people, or we think we have our act together and we're like, oh wait, I didn't realize there's a wound there. Let me figure out what this is about. So
yes, for sure.
Yeah, so fun. Okay. So excited. Again, the book is Finding Forevermore. And it's new release, your very first novel. So congratulations. But where can readers go to connect with you, to find your book and find all the things?
Find all the things. So my best place to connect with me is my website. So kellyjowilson.com. And you can sign up for the newsletter. And yes, you will get a free story if you sign up for the newsletter there. And also this book, so Finding Forevermore, will be available. It is going to be in Kindle Unlimited when it first releases. So if you have KU, you can check it out there. And hopefully I'm working with my street team to try to help get it into libraries because there's a new thing now that KU books can be in libraries, which is very exciting.
Oh, wow.
Yes, for sure. So, but the best place, like I said, is kellyjowilson.com. That's my website. And I'd love to connect with you there.
That's perfect. And I always tell people, go to your library and just have them order the paperback or whatever, because all the libraries have the little form, like what books you want them to order, because then it gets in circulation and then you build your readership with all those readers. So we love libraries. We love bookstores. We love online, any place you can get books. We just love it. And word of mouth is the best way. So read the book and then tell your friends about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. I just love it. I'm enjoying the book. I cannot wait to dig into it more. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Tricia. It's been such a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. It was such a joy being interviewed by Tricia and sharing about my debut novel, Finding Forevermore. Links to the Avid Readers of Christian Fiction Facebook group and podcast are in the show notes. Don't forget to enter the Forevermore Bookish Bundle giveaway that ends November 3rd. You could win a special edition copy of Finding Forevermore, some fun bookish goodies, a gift card, and more. And if you're listening in the future, no worries. You can always enter our latest book giveaway at ChristianRomancePodcast.com. That's ChristianRomancePodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, keep your faith, share the love, and happy reading.